Yeah, so I will maybe plan for 30 to 45 minutes. Although I have content for hours, and this is mostly going to be just one part of a two-part series of discussions on what SUDHA is and what is the concept and how to get involved and all of that. So in today's session, I would like to focus on the problem statement or why we are doing all of this. So that's me. Yeah, or why we are doing all of this and how to make sense of all of this, so that in the next session when I talk about what what we have done and what we have built and all of that, you will be able to better connect to your daily life and daily work and make sense of it. So for that, I would like to start by asking what you already know about SUDHA, if you heard that word, and what do you think it is, and what do you think, why do you think it exists? I'd like to go in an order. I would like not to ask Kartika and Namrata now because I recently had a chat with them. Neither Karun because he's also involved. Maybe start from the most distance. Nidhi is sitting at the back. So Nidhi, from you I'll start and then come to Chennai Mathionan and then here. So my question must be clear, but I'll repeat. What do you think SUDHA is and why do you think it exists? You're on mute if you're talking. CPHC Gopal. Hello? Are you speaking, Nidhi? I can't hear you. Hear what it said? No. Is there a sound issue?
Sound issue.
The sound is very, the voice is very low. You can't. Dhiren, can you repeat what Nidhi said?
Nidhi is not saying anything.
Huh.
Nidhi is not saying anything.
Okay, so you don't have an answer. Is that what you mean?
No. To ask Nidhi's view, though. Nidhi's how suddenly you ask, so she's little bit.
I'm totally off.
Blank.
Yeah, but okay, maybe I'll come back to you. Azam?
As per my understanding, I think that after this our Silver Jubilee program, I heard this archive, and at that time Dr. Ravi arranged the things and documents all the historical things and all the things there. And after that, after joining the SUDHA and after joining you are joining, na? Akshay is joining. So this thing, most of the things are going digital. So that's it. It is my understanding because most of the part of the SUDHA is that digitization and documentation things and the dissemination. So it's my understanding on that. No.
Super.
Thank you. Dhiren, do you want to add anything?
Yeah, I just
if you already agree with this, then no need to add, but yeah.
I'm agree with this, and I'm happy when the library comes between us or in our mobile, because earlier there is a place we go and read the books, but now we can access from anywhere, any point of time we access the book. And when we got the link from the WhatsApps, I am seeing taking side other books also. I am very happy to access the books easily with this kind of digitalization. And I'm very
Super.
happy. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. Mati,
Yeah, Akshay, already the what Azam bhai explained that thing on SUDHA is an digitized archive.
okay, fine. Amir, I'm not sure if you heard the question, but basically it's about what you already know about SUDHA, why it exists, what it does, and why it should exist. Do you want to add anything to this?
Actually, nothing. It makes it to digitalization and making it for a read platform. Yeah, that's what the broad understanding of.
Super. And then Shabana,
ಈ ವಿಷಯ ತುಂಬಾ ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿದೆ ಡಿಜಿಟಲ್ ಇದು ತುಂಬಾ ಮೊಬೈಲ್ ಡಿಜಿಟಲ್ ಸಾಕಷ್ಟು ಇದು ಉಪಯೋಗ ಬರುತ್ತೆ ಅಂತ ನನ್ನ ಪ್ರಕಾರ.
okay, you're agreeing with what Dhiren also said. Okay, I will very quickly go through people here. Not Profila, not Tarun, and you are rolled out. Priscilla, and then Surya, and then Sumitra. What is SUDHA? Why? What do you already know about it? Why does it exist? Or what does it do? Do you have anything to add? Otherwise, it's fine. Shall I ask Surya then? Hi, Priscilla. You are in the middle of something, I think. Surya.
The library books are based on from hard copies to converting into soft copies
Okay, digitization
for easy access.
for easy access. Okay. And Sumitra. Yeah.
I think the main aim is to reach all the pupils because here we have so much of studies and so much of things in such a
Hmm.
which many of them wants to know and gain some knowledge on this.
Hmm.
That many can't reach here for getting all this knowledge. So when we have it in online digitalization mode, everyone can have a
Super, very nice. Now this I asked everyone, but then the next question I would only like to ask any volunteers, including people I have skipped earlier. What do you feel is the role of knowledge in our work? Because Sumitra also just said knowledge. Many can't reach here to get knowledge. I typed it verbatim. What is the role of knowledge in our work? Is there any role? Why do we need it? What do we do with knowledge in our life, in our work, in Solsara? Any volunteer can answer.
Okay, so one is like one of the things which are doing medical tourism. So in that case, many of the like for me, Irish people in different sectors, like Irish people, Ayurveda might not be in my course, so if we have all this data online, it will be easy for us to navigate and get the information what we do. Instead of going to the library, get the book or buy it.
Any other answers? In our you work in Sophia and Sivash and
Okay.
Sudha. So in your work, you are not I mean you are an Ayurveda doctor, but you're not doing it right now in this work. How do you, what is the role of knowledge in our work is what I'm asking. You can think about it. CPHC Bhopal. Can you unmute and speak?
हमारा जो काम है वो नॉलेज पर ही बेस है.
हाँ, can you elaborate?
हमारा जो काम है वो नॉलेज पर ही बेस है.
Yes, how? Can you explain?
हम कोई भी कोई भी जो चीज है जो भी मतलब है वो करके सीखते हैं.
So I want to add. Am I audible?
Yeah, awesome.
Because I think that knowledge plays a very important role in our work now. Because without knowledge, we can't take any action. No, we are. So it's very important thing for play a very important role in our interventions and all the activities, not the actions, all the activities. It's a very important thing for all of us.
नॉलेज से हमें पता लगता है कि अभी हमें और क्या अपने काम को या और को किस तरह से और बेहतर दिशा में हम उसको लेके जा सकते हैं. और जैसे नॉलेज ही है जो हमें डायरेक्शन देता है और जो है सही गाइड और डायरेक्शन देता है.
Knowledge gives the confidence and the motivation, how to move and how to interact with the people, and with the knowledge we can interact with anyone anytime.
नॉलेज जो है वो हमें एविडेंस भी देता है कि हम जो कर रहे हैं वो सही कितना सही और कितना.
Okay. Any others who have not spoken it? Shabana?
नॉलेज नहीं विदाउट सर्टिफिकेट से मिलता है और ब्लाइंड अनुभव के साथ मिलने का काम फील्ड और पढ़ने से सेल्फ रीडिंग करने से और ब्लाइंड से दिखता नहीं है. हम अपने आप को ही बिल्ड होते रहता है हर इंसान को.
Okay. By blind you meant invisible, right? Others can't see.
Yes.
Anyone else? If you feel like adding something that's not already been said. You wanna come back first?
This example. Can I this example? So like when we were going for the field thing to Anjanapura, I was not very much familiar with FGD or transact or station mapping. So we took videos and then books that we need to have a video.
Good. Transact, okay. So, oh, sorry, I did something wrong. I added a slide by mistake. I'm just gonna keep this here. Thanks for all the answers and thanks for engaging. For making this short, 30 to 45 minutes as I promised, I'll now speak a bit more, but please do feel free to stop me at any point and ask me questions or comments or anything like that. So this is one visualization I saw online. I mean, I didn't credit where I downloaded it from. You might have seen it. You can look at it for a few seconds. It's trying to find the difference between data, information, knowledge, insight, wisdom, and many of those. So I'd like to make one point here as to the difference between information, knowledge, and insight and wisdom. Shabana said some things might be invisible. It is what we get through our work and experience and all of that. I think some of that might be wisdom and insight. The thing about knowledge is often it's possible to write it down or to talk about it, to write articles about it, to share with others. Insight and wisdom, I agree with Shabana. It's difficult to show that except through actions and except through decisions and all of that. And as opposed to information, the difference between information and knowledge is that information is kind of undirected. This like when you said it gives us direction, what direction to take in work. With information, we can't take direction. Only when it comes to knowledge will we be able to take direction. So if there is a description of transact work or social mapping, just information, this is how we do it, this is how we do it, this is how we do it. And then when you come to the field and there's a question that is not in this information, you won't be able to answer it because that's only information. But with knowledge, you know the purpose, you've given context and all of that. And therefore, there's another slide which explains that. So with information, it's all cataloged and curated and kept. But knowledge is slightly more advanced. You get the idea, you get the concept, you're thinking about it. You're asking why it exists. I'll share the slides. You're asking why it exists, what is the purpose, and therefore it is easier to then go to wisdom also. When you think about all this, when you try to answer, and then you gain the wisdom. So right now I'm just going through some theories of education, of pedagogy, of learning, of teaching, so that what I'm gonna say later will make more sense. This is something called Bloom's taxonomy. Not sure if you would have heard of it. You've definitely heard in Glenn's this thing. Even before that, have you? Okay. So this is what in the cognitive domain. So Bloom's taxonomy has different domains: cognitive domain, affective domain, and psychomotor domain. In cognitive domain, which is related to knowledge, what are the higher and higher domains of learning? That's what this Bloom's taxonomy is all about. So can we just remember something and maybe answer multiple choice questions? All of that comes under remember. And then the next level of knowledge is understanding. So just being able to remember is different from being able to understand. I hope that makes sense. We can pick an answer, but if the numbers change, it's a physics question. They ask if a ball is thrown at this speed, how far it will go. If you're just remembering, you will know for that exact question. But if you understand, even if the numbers change, you'll be able to answer the next one. And then is application. So in the same physics, this thing, if you're using it to do some problems solving application, like you want to throw a ball at a height, of course, for that we don't rely on knowledge and all of that. But for a lot of social work, we understand and then we apply. How we apply it, all of that is that. So these three are considered, the lower ones are considered enough for school, college education and all. Not college, early undergraduate education and all. But that's what Glenn said that day. In postgraduate education, we are not worried about remember, understand, apply at all. Or in our life education, in our lifelong education, what we are worried about is analyze, evaluate, and create. So in analyze, we are connecting ideas. We are contrasting. So the question is, should we do transact work? Should we do social mapping? Should we do mapping on the ground? Should we do mapping on a board? These are all analysis. So you're doing analysis there. And then again, when you go one step ahead and make those decisions, that's evaluation. So analysis, you can do a pros and cons. But if you have to choose one, then that is you are evaluating. And then create. Create is the highest level. When you have completely understood something, you would be like, okay, social work is there. What is a new form of activity that I can do for the same objective? You can create new things when you have completely understood. So this is the hierarchy in cognitive domain. Now, of course, there are other domains also. Psychomotor, this is affective domain. So this is about feelings. Are we able to understand feelings? Are we receiving? Are we listening to? If someone is, we are in a meeting and someone is feeling frustrated or they're feeling excluded, are we able to receive? And then there is respond. Are we able to respond to that, or do we just ignore it? Do we value it? Do we see the value of others' feelings and how we interact with it? And then when all of these values are put together, does it influence our politics? So that is organizing. So is it systematic? Can we make the same finding across? Okay, if one person is consistently being silenced in a team meeting, is it because there is a value problem in the whole system? So you organize and then you characterize. So you change the worldview. You then be like, oh no, I'm anti-capitalist because it's all coming from capitalism. So you characterize it, or you might talk about different characterization. So this is in the affective domain, emotional domain. And then there is, yeah, stop.
Feel like we should, I mean, at least I feel like we should add one is responding, the other something related is reacting. So when you feel something, without thinking, if we say something or react, that will be reaction. But after thinking, we try to respond, right?
Oh, sorry, I'm trying to edit, but it's not on. Okay.
There's difference between response and react.
Correct. So this is basically now Prafula is making the point of emotional quotient, emotional intelligence, and all of that. I had to learn this actively. It didn't come to me from childhood. So there is all this labeling, choosing when to respond. So we get angry by something, take a breath and choose how to respond. Reaction is where we do not choose, where what is natural to us, our instinct comes out. That is reaction. Responding is we choose how to respond. So thanks for making out that point. There is a lot. I'm not going to go into psychology today. I'm only interested in the educational aspect, pedagogy aspect. In the affective domain, so in cognitive domain, people might become very smart. They might be able to write essays and bring out new PhD topics and all of that. But it doesn't mean that in the affective domain, in their emotion and the feeling, they do the same. A good example is let's just 2-3 days back, a very famous scholar called Gayatri Spivak went to JNU, gave a talk, and then someone was asking a question. Someone who is from a not so privileged background, and instead of answering the question, Gayatri was correcting the pronunciation of a name that this person was using, and then it became very viral, very controversial, all of that. So that is an example of affective domain being very low and cognitive domain being very high. So another example for personally for me is we think about a lot of things. We talk about, say, community health. We read the 10 chapters or 10 axioms and all of that. And we can talk about it when people come as learners. We can give lectures. But it's not influencing our work. Then again, I would feel like that is a problem with the affective domain because we don't feel it. Feeling, it's about feeling versus knowing. And what will make it clear is this one.
Another example for that difference between the two paradigms is about the language itself. A lot of people would have done Visharda, Rashtrabhasha in Hindi, or like so a lot of people know the language to read, write, and but they would not be knowing speaking or understanding when one speaks in the original language. So that is also another difference. Day-to-day life. Like I can speak Tamil, but if you ask me to read and write, I don't know. A lot of people going to this Prachara Sabha would have learned till Rashtrabhasha and Hindi, but if you ask them to speak or understand, they wouldn't be able to. So that's the difference between the two pyramids. Yeah, the day-to-day life, I'm just like.
Yeah, maybe this actually this is something called Miller's pyramid. I mean, I'm sorry, this full of pyramids. This thing. But again, it's based on the idea that some things are valuable. We should not encourage people to linger at lower rungs of the pyramid. We should encourage them to come up. That's the reason why it's in a pyramid shape. So in Miller's pyramid, this is originally for clinical medicine, as to what a doctor knows. Do they know how to do it? Can they show how to do it? And do they actually do it in practice? But we can apply it everywhere. So we might know community health, but we might not know how to do it. That is the first rung we have to climb. And then we might know how to do it, but we might not be able to actually show. Okay, I ask Karun, can you do FGD with the community health approach? He might not be able to, he might know how to do it. Okay, we have to be kind, we have to listen, all of that, but he might not be able to show. Now there are people who might be even able to show. If someone is watching, if a leader has come and they are watching, they will show, they will do it. But in their absence, they will not. So they're not doing it. They're showing how to do it, but they don't do it. So this is again related to same affective domain, cognitive domain, same thing. If you are in the cognitive domain, and you know how to do, and you can even show how to do. But the change, real change happens only when we do things, right? So that is another pyramid. This is cycle, action, reflection cycle. We can come back to this. You think this is a question we can again come back to. I do want us to ponder about. We all use knowledge as we agreed, but do we also generate and disseminate knowledge? Do we write about our experiences? Do we share it with others? If we do not write, how can we share it with others? We can share it with the immediate people. Even that, are we doing? If you are doing that, can we go to the next step and all of that? So we'll come back to that question. Now, I'm very glad that many people brought up dissemination in the first question's answer. So this is exactly what the two highlighted sections are, what I think exactly describes what SUDHA does in the vision mission. I hope you've all seen this. SUDHA is an interdisciplinary resource group of community health professionals utilizing multiple pathways to facilitate and promote the goal of health for all. Vision is always ambitious, and it's mission that we actually should look at. So it works through community action and partnerships, a bit of which SUDHA is also doing. We have partnerships with other knowledge organizations like Internet Archive, Design Beku, and Randall Sekera IPH. There are that. Teaching and training initiatives, which is again part of what SUDHA does, which is thinking about digital teaching. How do we teach online? Again, I'll come back to that. Research. So this is the whole field is research. Digital humanities is a field that is very new. It's only in 2015 that someone started a course in digital humanities in India, and that to only one college, and it shut down later or something like that. So whatever we are doing is research. We are figuring out on the fly as to how to solve some of these problems. But what is actually the purpose is knowledge dissemination. And I'll again come back to that. Policy advocacy and engagement. These are all areas which we can't reach as of now. And all of the other things. So established library, document, interactive information center. So this interactive information center is what very closely aligns with what SUDHA does. So on the point of how it came up, Azam rightly pointed out, a Silver Jubilee, there was a Silver Jubilee Museum Archive project, which brought out all of this CLIC website, whatever was there, they put together. I think Suresh was very tightly involved with this. So Suresh actually might have drafted this also, I'm not sure. So what they thought about is, in Sofia, at that point, CHLP was only course. But all the CHFP and different phases and all of that, that was happening. That could be called intensive learning. In that, we are holding people, putting deadlines to them, giving them assignments and mentoring them, buddy system and all the intensive learning. As opposed to that, and complementing that, can we have an extensive learning strategy wherein we use the internet, web-based information technology oriented strategy, use the internet to reach a wider pool, which you brought up, Sumitra. Thanks for that. To reach so many people outside Sochara who would benefit from it, but who are not able to reach it. So can we use the internet to do that? Internet is the answer for that in our society. And if so, what are the strategies we need? It's not like scanning and uploading alone. Because you have a book here also. Do we read a book just because it's there? How many people visit library every month? I welcome to them to read. Even if we give someone a book, how many people read those books? Correct? So it's not just about information being put out online. So we need a learning strategy. We need to think about pedagogy. We need to think about I'm not sure if I'm using the word pedagogy again and again. You've heard of the word. Pedagogy just means, yeah. Something alternative. Pedagogy is the science of education. How do we? Veda means children. Goji means learning or education. So how do we teach children is the, so if we actually are thinking of adults, we need andragogy, but forget that. Pedagogy of the oppressed, you heard the book name. So basically, how do we teach? That's the question that pedagogy has to answer. It's a field based on how do we teach? How do we help people learn, if you want to reframe in that way? So just putting a book somewhere is not teaching. It's publication or it's printing. Teaching is something bigger than it is facilitation of all of this. It's facilitation of growth from remember to create. This process is teaching. So now how do we do it online? That is the question in front of SUDHA, in front of this extensive learning strategy. In person, we know a lot because we have all been exposed to that in real world. We have done schooling, so we know our teachers, we know our professors. How do we do it online? So again, that's a field of research. So the phrase digital humanities very nicely resonates with this. In that, it's about using computers, computing technologies, and all of that with humanities, with the idea of social science and what Sochara does is actually health and humanities. Humanities is social determinants, is social science. So it's humanities. And therefore, how do we use all of this for research, teaching, and publishing? That is where digital humanities, the word comes in. And then John very nicely put it together in an acronym, Sochara's unit for digital humanities and archives. So digital archives and digital humanities. Now, this is actually a slide that I showed in a meeting with Glenn. Here is some affirmation of this idea. This is Dr. Akshay, who is a very vocal advocate for trans rights in medical system. She's in IHERE and in Sangat. She's a collaborator with Sangat Bhopal, where you wanted to go. One of you wanted to go. So the question they are facing is also the same. Medical education is very transphobic, very queerphobic. Nobody, MFC is also discussing the same thing. A person with a gay person who has been sexually assaulted goes to the ART center, antiretroviral treatment for HIV medication. They got HIV because they were sexually assaulted. And then the ART medical officer like, why are you gay? If you are not gay, you wouldn't have this book. So how much is the understanding gap in basic things like sexuality, gender identity, all that. So trans people face the same thing. Every time a trans person goes to a clinic, they're asked to, they might have gone with cough and cold, they're asked to show their genetics. Why? So this is the kind of phobia, and that is it. So medical school is too late, is what Akshay says. Start at primary education, which I also love. But then the point 16, so this is from a panel discussion. There's a whole other set of points. Instagram teaches more about sexual and gender minorities than textbooks. This is the sentence I take to my heart. Because it is true. The internet has taught me more than any textbook. I've gone through medical college. I've gone through internet. I've learned all of what I know about queer, about queerness, about queer politics, about Dalit politics, all of that from internet. If I can learn all of that from internet, then I was like, how do I contribute back? So that is other thing. Is anyone trying to say anything? Okay. So in short, what we need is now a critical digital pedagogy, which means a way to teach online or digitally, which will actually work. It's not just about putting content. It's about how do we change people? How do we bring them from knowledge to, where is that slide? From just knowing to doing. That is the pedagogy's challenge. And so what we are not able to solve all of that at once. I'm just skipping a few slides. So in digital humanities, is a stack of what is called digital humanities. There are a lot of things we need to worry about. There are a lot of technical challenges we have. We need to think about how to actually hold. So the PDF is there. It's a scanned one. When you scan something, you get an image. Now you need to convert this to PDF. But PDF and image are not text. So you need to do optical character recognition. You need to get the text out of it. So all of those OCR scan and then put it in a database. And then there's issue of storage, how much space it needs. You need 40 GB space, and then on the cloud, how much it costs. So all of these technical questions are there. Let's all of that is covered because I'm here. That is all covered. But now what we can think about is the ones on the top. Now we need archives, which is also coming up. Swami is sending books regularly. It's all coming up. How do we now use this for the top ones? Critique of the culture. What tools and apps do we build out of it to make people think differently? What kind of publications can we make out of it? How do we read all of this and make sense of it and create new knowledge? What projects can we run on top of it? So all of these are the challenges or the answers we need to, as a team in SUDHA, need to solve in digital humanities and SUDHA. I'm not forcing anyone to think about all of this right now because we are still in the middle. We are still figuring out archives and getting it all up and all that. Even in the CLIC meeting, there was a question of how do we catalog this? How do we make it easily browsable? All of that. Those are relevant questions, but we are still in the middle of, we are still playing catch up. We are still in the middle of digitization and putting it online. So on that, there is some update. So this is an old photograph, of course. This is the archive website of Internet Archive. This non-profit based out of America, they scan everything they can get. They've scanned the entire Library of Congress, which is the largest library in America. They've scanned India's National Law School of India University, Bangalore. They've scanned the whole library. So, and what they do is they make it available online. So you can also go archive.org. You will find this whole collection from across the world. And we were very fortunate. We were at the right place at the right time. We could build a partnership with Om Shivrakash and Karl Malmuth. They even came here to get all of our collection also on the same platform. So right now we have to search by SUDHA, but they are in the process of creating a dedicated collection called SUDHA, and then we'll be able to see the whole thing in one URL. Right now there are 2,000 in the public domain, 2,500 in the public domain. Some copyrighted books, what they do is they scan, they don't make it publicly available. So it's available, but it's not publicly available. And then we have a similar effort in our own center. You might have noticed Vijay in a corner. If you have not, please go to that corner in library and say hi. He has been with Swami's guidance, scanning a lot of our resource files and putting them all online. Now this we are not going to put all of this on Internet Archive because some of these are handwritten notes and some confidential information, all of that. So we'll keep it private and give access to our own researchers. Many people have done PhDs through this. So that's what Assam also meant, I think. Ravi has curated a lot of information into knowledge, which others have used for synthesis of insights and wisdom, which is how they did PhDs. Taking sites, Dhiren's book is here. I just put some screenshots. And then this is probably the most important slide for today, because now is where you can all get involved. We have all of this knowledge. Now, how do we put this together into, okay, some of this is information. How do we put this into knowledge and insights? And how do we make it a teaching strategy? So for that, we need people to think very hard, very deep about topics you're passionate about. If Assam and Dhiren are interested in Hindi speaking people and how to train them, of course, Hindi, but also you need a topic. On what topics do you need things in Hindi? On all the topics, then how do we think about that? So for MFC, Rajiv did a curation and we did a memory walk. We took the whole MFC 50-year meeting through a walk of how MFC evolved from 1970s to 2020s, how it changed and things like that. Priyanka did a whole collection of disasters. So she presented that also. So she's gotten a insight for new volunteers. So she was trying to answer only one specific question. If you are a new volunteer to a disaster zone, how do you know what to expect? How do you prepare yourself and what do you do? So you can only answer a very small question. It is very difficult to answer the whole disaster thing. Similarly, Randall is trying to think about People's Health Assembly. He's not gotten a lot of time, and Karun is answering the question Karun himself said in the beginning. So if you are an Ayurveda doctor, how do you know about Siddha, Unani, Yoga? You can't give them 10 textbooks and say, okay, now you are Siddha, Unani, Yoga expert. It is not possible. If you're a modern medical practitioner, same thing. So the challenge with Karun is he has to go through all this and then create learning experiences, create curated knowledge, create insights, and make it easy for people to learn. And all these topics are available. We have huge collections in many of these topics. What we are thinking of doing is residencies. We are trying to raise fund. When we get fund, we'll be able to give people money to do a project. So you want to work on something, do it. We'll give you money, focus on the thing, and get it coming. So the last, you want something. The last thing I want to leave everyone with is this is called reflexivity. Some of this is hard in that if one can't think about knowledge and creativity and all of that, this is called Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Alfred likes this. Unless all of these lower ones are met, if our food is under stress, if we are not getting money, if we are not eating, and there's a lot of physical heat and all of that, or we don't have safety of employment, of family, some issue is going on in our family. We don't have friendship, family, sexual intimacy, self-esteem, confidence, achievement. When all of this is met, all of these needs are met, that is when we can usually think about creativity, spontaneity, problem solving, knowledge, and all of that. So I'm not saying that there are people who don't have food when they can still think. I mean, it's not like this hierarchy is very valid. People might be creative even when they're poor and they're suffering also. Usually in the hierarchy of needs, you would first try to solve these problems and then these and then these. This is something I want to leave everyone with, just to think about how this is connected to this one. In the next part, when I get time again, I will go to the actual details of the platforms we have built, the archive, the wiki, and how we can edit and all of that. Hopefully by then, we'll all be having individual discussions where you can contribute.